Imagine waking up every day knowing that your money is working for you, not the other way around. What if I told you the only thing standing between you and financial freedom are 3 bad habits? Before we dive into the bad habits, let's take a step back and talk about what financial freedom really means. For me, financial freedom is when your passive income exceeds your burn rate. Basically, when money comes in without you having to do anything, and you're not constantly worrying about spending more than you earn. Now, there are 2 main paths to financial freedom: the slow lane and the fast lane. The slow lane involves working a job, saving, and investing over a long period. But for me, that path didn't seem ideal. It could take decades to reach financial freedom, and honestly, who wants to wait that long? On the other hand, the fast lane involves building assets and businesses that generate passive income, and that's what I focused on. Financial freedom isn't about just sitting back and doing nothing. It's about having the freedom to choose how you spend your time and energy. So how do we get there? Well, you can either decrease your costs or increase your passive income, ideally a combination of both. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. Now that we understand the basics, let's break it down. Financial freedom is achieved when your passive income is greater than your expenses. So, the 2 key levers you can pull are: 1. Increase your passive income through businesses or investments, and 2. Decrease your spending to make your financial goals more achievable. For example, one way people approach this is by investing in the stock market and using the 4% rule. If you save enough, you can withdraw 4% of your investments every year without touching the principal. But that takes time, decades in fact. If you want faster results, building a business or asset is the way to go. Look, the journey to financial freedom isn't easy, and it requires a shift in how we think about money and work. But once you start building that foundation, it becomes empowering. You'll realize that financial freedom isn't about being rich. It's about having the choice to live life on your own terms. Bravery isn't about not being afraid. It's about taking action despite fear. If you have the courage to change your habits, you can create the life you dream of. All right, now let's get into the first bad habit that might be holding you back from the fast lane to financial freedom. This one is huge, and honestly, it affects almost everyone at some point in their journey. Bad habit number 1 is focusing too much on saving instead of focusing on building assets. Look, saving is important, but when you're trying to get to financial freedom as fast as possible, saving alone isn't going to cut it. It can take decades just to save up enough to start investing meaningfully, and that's just not efficient. Instead, what you should be focusing on is finding ways to build income-generating assets that work for you while you sleep. So, going back to the first bad habit, ignorance. This is really a major issue. For a lot of people, they just don't realize that building wealth, especially through assets and businesses, is a learnable skill. For the past 15 years, I've been honing that skill. And now, I can confidently say that if I were to lose everything, my money, my fame, my 5 YouTube channel, everything, I believe within a year, I'd be able to build it all back up. Why? Because I've spent 10 years learning how to build businesses and assets that generate income. The big problem here is that many people just don't appreciate that this is a skill. And like any skill, it takes time and practice. You can't just expect to wake up one day and magically be financially free. You need to learn the right strategies and put in the effort to build that skill. So, how do you learn this skill? Well, the first step is to carve out time in your day for continuous learning. Whether it's reading books, listening to audiobooks, podcasts, or watching YouTube videos on entrepreneurship, this will give you the foundational knowledge you need. This is how I did it, and it's how you can too. For example, on my podcast, I've had many entrepreneurs break down how they grew multimillion-dollar businesses and became financially free. Their journeys are full of actionable insights that you can apply right now. Books like $1 Million Weekend by Noah Kagan, The Millionaire Fastlane by MJ DeMarco, and Make Epic Money by Anu Waraku have all been game changers for me. How many of these books or resources have you consumed? Because the sad truth is, 80% of people I speak to have not invested enough time in reading or learning about how to build businesses and assets. If you're enjoying the content so far, I think you'll find my book, Feel Good Productivity, quite helpful. It's about doing more of what matters to you in a way that's sustainable and enjoyable. In fact, A big part of reaching financial freedom is finding the time and energy to do things that bring you closer to that goal. You can grab it on Kindle, Audible, or even hardback. But here's the thing. Learning alone isn't enough. You can't just read books and expect results. You need to take action. Imagine you're in a forest with thick fog, trying to find your way to financial freedom. Listening to podcasts and reading books is like getting a map of the forest, showing you different paths you could take. But you'll never make it out of the fog unless you walk those paths. One of the reasons I got to financial freedom is because I didn't just learn about YouTube channels, passive income, or building assets. I took action on what I was learning. I applied the concepts from books and podcasts and built something that actually worked. You don't need to know all the ways to get to financial freedom. Just knowing a few paths is enough. The more you listen and learn, the clearer those paths will become. And eventually, you'll realize that there's not just one way to achieve financial freedom, but multiple different ways to get there. So, here's what I want you to do starting today to develop that skill. 1. Commit to learning. Start reading books, listening to podcasts, or watching videos that teach you how to build businesses or assets. Find a few resources you resonate with and dive in. 2. Apply what you learn. Don't just consume information, take action. Whether it's starting a side business, investing in the stock market, or creating an online product, you need to do something with what you learn. 3. Track your progress. Keep track of your journey. Understand what's working and what's not. Learn from mistakes and use them as stepping stones to your next level of success. Remember, financial freedom isn't just about the destination. It's about the journey. It's about the skills you develop along the way, the decisions you make, and the paths you choose. So, don't be discouraged if things don't happen overnight. With the right mindset, consistency, and persistence, you will get there. And here's the thing, there's no right time to start. Start today, even if it's just reading a book for 15 minutes or listening to a podcast while you're driving. Every small step counts toward building the financial freedom you deserve. All right, so we've covered habit number 1, which was ignorance. Now let's talk about habit number 2. You've learned what the map looks like. You understand the skills needed to reach financial freedom, but for some reason, you still stay exactly where you are. You know what to do, but you don't do it. That's what I call the habit of inaction. There are so many people who want financial freedom, and some even get the learning part down. Maybe they've watched all my videos, listened to the podcasts, read the books, but they still don't take that first step. Maybe they've been watching every video on Alex Hormozi's channel, or they've gone through my entire podcast archive, but haven't yet tried to make their first dollar on the internet. Does that sound like you? And I get it. Life gets busy. Maybe you've got a full-time job, you're a student, or you've got family commitments that take up most of your time. But here's the thing. Almost everyone who ends up financially free didn't have a completely empty calendar or all the spare time in the world to build their business. In fact, most of them were just as busy as you are now, juggling family, jobs, and life commitments. But they made the time. Let me give you an example. One of my friends decided he was going to use his evenings wisely. Every Monday and Tuesday, after work, without fail, he would work on his YouTube channel and course business. He turned down social invitations during those evenings, prioritizing his business goals instead. The rest of the week, he had time to hang out with friends, but Monday and Tuesday evenings were carved out for building his future. He made that choice to prioritize the action part of the process. You don't need to spend every waking hour working, but you do need to carve out specific time blocks. Maybe you don't have Monday and Tuesday evenings to spare. Maybe you're a parent, maybe you've got a 9-to-5 job, but you can still carve out an hour in the morning before work. That hour is not for consuming more content. It's for taking action. Take that time to work on your dream of financial freedom. You can learn on the go, while you're doing laundry, commuting, or even doing other tasks. But action, focused action, needs to be intentional and scheduled. Now, moving on to habit number 3, environmental inertia. This is about not intentionally designing your environment to help you on your journey to financial freedom. You're just letting things happen as they are, going along with the default mode, and not being proactive about shaping your surroundings. One of the easiest ways to speed up your progress toward financial freedom is by surrounding yourself with people who are on the same path. You might not need to be surrounded by multimillionaires, But if you're with people who understand what you're going through and are also aiming for financial freedom, that support will propel you forward. Having a community, a network of people who share your goals, can make all the difference. I've interviewed countless financially free individuals, and one thing that stands out is that they often had a supportive network of like-minded people. When things didn't go as planned, when motivation dipped, they had others to lean on who understood the journey. If all of your friends are working regular jobs and aren't interested in entrepreneurship or financial freedom, it will be much harder for you to stay motivated and keep pushing forward. Environmental inertia happens when you're not actively working to surround yourself with the right people. Maybe you're not attending entrepreneurial events, going to meetups, or seeking out communities of people who are working towards similar goals. But this is so important. Just by changing your environment, whether that's joining an online community, attending events for entrepreneurs, or seeking mentors, you start to see your own journey in a different light. You'll find that the people you interact with the most will start to shape your own mindset and progress. Here's the good news. This is something you can immediately change. Start by surrounding yourself with people who are where you want to be, or who are also striving toward that same goal. Whether that's in person, through online communities, or even in social media groups, connect with people who share your vision. You'll find that the motivation to keep going will be far easier when you've got people around you who are walking the same path. Look at how I built my network. I attended events, connected with other entrepreneurs, and surrounded myself with people who understood the hustle. If you're feeling stuck, take a step back and ask yourself, who am I spending the most time with? If those people aren't helping you grow toward financial freedom, it's time to make some changes. So, what can you do today to break free from these habits? Start by making time for learning every day. Schedule focused blocks of time for action, not just consumption. Change your environment. Connect with people who are on the same journey. Remember, you can absolutely achieve financial freedom, but you need to actively work on these habits. Don't let the default mode of inaction or an unsupportive environment slow you down. Take control, and you'll be amazed at how quickly things can start to shift. If this video helped you, make sure to give it a thumbs up, share it with someone who needs to hear this, and hit that subscribe button for more content like this. Let me know in the comments, what's one thing you're going to change this week to break free from these bad habits? Thanks for watching, and as always, keep learning, take action, and stay consistent. You've got this.